bodies, as if they matter. Well, I mean, people's bodies matter, but you know what I mean. So let's talk about bodies and body parts, and I totally just grabbed my crotch.
Which is a body part.
In the medical industry, we gender people's bodies, and remember how we talked about, like, gender and sex are two different things, and so, like, I don't see my body as a woman's body, and I don't see my body as being a girl's but wants to be a boy's body. I'm pretty sure that some of you may also identify with that, and some of you may not, and that's cool too. So yeah, a lot of the time in the medical background, we gender people's bodies, and while gender and sex are two different things, our culture sees male and man as synonymous, and female and woman as synonymous, and to some of us, oh my goodness, you're popular! And some of us do see being a man and being male as the same thing, and that's okay when talking about our own bodies, and not okay when talking about other people's bodies, because then we are applying labels to other people's bodies that may not be okay, and doing this is often referred to as misgendering. So how often have you seen, like, a women's clinic, or when talking about being pro-choice or about abortions issues, it's about a woman's issue. Excuse me, I do not identify as a woman, and I totally have a uterus, and I'm totally capable of giving birth, maybe. I don't know how testosterone affects that with everybody. But yeah, that's something that we should talk about more often in the medical community, and someone who writes about this, he is a trans guy, identifies as a trans man, I believe. I could be wrong, but he prefers he, him, his as pronouns, so I do know that. His name is Dean Spade. He is a lawyer and a professor, and he often writes about purported gender body parts in the medical industry and teaching people how to be more gender inclusive when discussing medical conditions in the workforce. So yeah, if you're ever interested in reading more about this, I highly recommend his writing. He is incredibly articulate and very, very educational. So yeah, misgendering in the medical community is something that happens a lot. How many people have gone to the doctor and been misgendered ever? Yeah, I actually, there's a small business by where I get my hormone prescription, and it's called Melrose Pharmacy, and I found it by going to the local LGBT center because I was doing a Toastmasters thing, which is like a speech competition sort of thing. It's an extracurricular activity that a lot of adults go to, I guess. But I went to meet more queer people, which I didn't meet, and I was misgendered at the LGBT center. So yeah, I hate that a lot. But one of the persons that gave a speech owns this pharmacy, and so I went there thinking, oh yeah, this place is totally LGBT friendly, I'm not going to get misgendered, nobody's going to question why I'm on hormones, it's not a big deal. I was really wrong. So yes, my ID says my birth name on it, it says female on it. Why? Because I'm too poor to change those things, and I haven't had any surgeries, so Arizona won't change it. But that's not cool, is my point. And so, like, I went in thinking, well, I'm usually perceived as male, so it's probably not even going to be a big deal. Like, when I went in to file for food stamps, like, they looked at my ID, they said it was, like, they saw that it said female, they were kind of confused for a moment, thinking I was applying for somebody else, even though my picture's on it. and from, like, even from that confusion, nothing happened. They still refer to me with he, him, his pronouns, and that was really cool. They didn't do that at this pharmacy. So, that being said, I think it's important to advocate that even in the medical industry, to not gender people's bodies, just because someone's ID says female or male, like, that's not really indicative of whatever body parts they have. Like we talked about, some women have, you know, penises, and some men have vaginas by, you know, by a medical definition of those terms. So what do we do instead of talking about what do we do instead of gendering people's bodies? And that's what Dean Spade writes about in Purported